what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Steve statue with a twist, or two. If you want to make him, here's what you're going to need. You will either need sandstone block, or grab yourself some white stained clay. This is going to be Steve's skin tone. It's kind of up to you which one you want to use. I'll be using the clay. Once you've grabbed that, you will also want to grab yourself some black stained clay. You'll also want to grab yourself some dark grey wool and some white wool. Also grab dark blue, and finally grab yourself some cyan wool. We're actually going to need quite a few more materials a little later on, but for now we'll just grab these. So once you have each one of these, and once you've figured out where you want to make them, I'll be making them right here, you're going to want to kick off your Steve statue with a row of 8 dark grey wool in a row on the floor. That's 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once you have your row of 8 dark grey wool, this is what you want to do next. Stack another row of 8 dark grey wool on top of that base row to give you 2 rows of 8 dark grey. Once you have your 2 rows, you then want to do 10 solid rows of dark blue wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And of course, we now have to fill these in. So we're going to painstakingly, horizontally fill these in. I should probably do it vertically, like go up and go down. But I don't know, left to right is just, it's so much less effort. It's probably slower, but it's definitely less effort. So, once you yourself have got your 10 rows of dark blue wool sorted out, this is what you want to do for the next row. Starting from the right hand side here, coming in from the right, going left, do 2 cyan wool. Then fill the rest of the row in with dark blue wool. Then for the next row, starting from the right hand side again, do 3 cyan. Then fill the rest of the row in with dark blue wool. Once you've done that, you then want to make the next 8 rows cyan wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And of course, we just have to fill these in now. And again, it probably would be a little bit faster to fill these in vertically, going up and down, but it's a lot more effort. It's a lot more effort, let's get real. Here I just have to do a couple of swift clicks with the analog sticks. Other method takes too much effort. I can't do it. And once you've got your 8 rows of cyan taken care of, you then want to do this for the next row. Do 2 white stained clay in the 2 center spots of your row, and then fill the entire rest of the row in with cyan. For the next row, do 4 white stained clay in the 4 center spots of your row, and then do cyan everywhere else. And what you want to end up with is something that should look a little bit like this. And that is what you want to have so far for the entire front of your Steve statue. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the next bit. So we're now going to do one of Steve's arms. We're going to do the arm on the right hand side first of all. So once you've reached this point right here, you then want to come all the way to the right hand side of your statue, and you want to come to this row that I have highlighted right here, where we first started placing cyan in the torso. You want to go right of this cyan block with your white stained clay by 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And once you have that first row of 4 white stained clay, you then want to go up on top of it by 7 rows. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we just have to fill in those 7 rows with our white stained clay. So you want to have something which should look like that. Once you have in total your 8 rows of white clay, 1 plus 7, 8, you then want to fill the rest of the rows of the arm in with cyan, and that should just add up to 4. So you want to end up with something that should look a little bit like this. And we're only going to be doing the one arm for now, guys. The other arm is actually going to be positioned differently, so we're going to wait until later to do it. Once you've got all of that taken care of, we can now move on to the rest of the statue. So once you have reached this point right here, move all the way around to the back of your statue and come all the way down to the bottoms of the feet. Take out your dark grey wool and take each end of the base of your statue and extend each one of these end blocks out of the back of the statue by 3 with your dark grey. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And then connect each one of those third blocks together, back block to give you a shape which should look like this, which is just a U shape. And this is the base for the entire of the statue. So we're now going to build up the entire back of the statue on top of these 8 back blocks that we have right here. And then we're going to build up the entire sides of the statue on top of those 2 blocks that we have on the left and right hand side. But for now, for the back of the statue, you want to continue this along by doing 2 rows of dark grey on top of that back row. So in total for the back so far, you want to have 3 rows of 8 dark grey. Like so. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. Do 7 rows of dark blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we just have to fill these in now. And I've already told you guys, I'm way too lazy to do this vertically. So we're just going to very lazily fill all of these in. So you want to have 7 rows of dark blue like this. Once you've done that, you then, for the next row, starting from the left-hand side, want to do this sequence of blocks. Do 4 dark blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by 1 cyan, then 3 dark blue. For the next row, starting from the left again, do 3 dark blue, 3 cyan, 2 dark blue. Just like that. And once you've got that taken care of, that's actually the hard part of the back completely finished. All you have to do now is just fill in every single one of the other rows of the back until it's in line with the top of the torso there with cyan wool. And I am going to do this vertically just to see if it does make a difference or not. Is this faster than going left to right, or is it just the illusion that it's faster? I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure that that's faster. I've been asking myself that question for a while, but that's got to be faster than going left to right. But what you want to end up with is something that should look exactly like this. And that is so far the entire back of the statue completed. Really easy. Just stack as many rows of cyan as it takes. It should add up to 12, but you don't really have to count it out, don't worry about it. So, once you've got that taken care of, all we have to do now is just the back of the arm. And of course, we've just got this left-hand side to take care of because that right-hand side we'll be doing just a little later on. So, for the back of the arm, the left-hand side here, all you have to do really is just look directly forward at what you did on the front of your statue and just copy it onto the back of the statue as I'm doing now. You don't really need any instructions. It's the same on the back as it is the front, so just look directly forward and just copy block for block what you did on the front and apply it to the back. So what you want to have so far is something which should look exactly like this. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the sides. So we're going to start on the empty side first of all. So come onto this side of your statue and come all the way down to the bottoms of the feet. The way that we're going to do this, first of all, we're going to go on top of this left dark grey with a sequence of blocks, fill all of that row, and then we're going to do the same with this right hand dark grey. Starting with the left hand dark grey, this is what you want to do on top of it. Do 2 dark grey wool, 1, 2. Followed by 11 dark blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then fill the entire rest of the row in with cyan, just coming all the way up to the top of your statue. So you want to have that. 2 dark grey, 11 dark blue, rest cyan, easy enough. Moving on to the next dark grey, so coming all the way back down to here again, on top of this dark grey wool, stack a single dark grey. Followed by 12 dark blue, but you don't really have to count out those dark blue. All you have to do is really just match the height of the dark blue row that you have on the left, like that. And once you've done that, all you really have to do is just completely fill in the entire rest of that side in with cyan wool, and then you're done. Easy as that. So you want to end up with something that should look exactly like this. Simple enough. Once you've got that side taken care of, we now have the pleasure of moving all the way over to this side and doing almost the exact same thing. So for the leg section, we are actually going to do the same thing. So for the legs, all you have to do to complete these is just look directly forward at what you did on that opposite side of your statue and copy it onto this side. And it's pretty easy actually. You just place those 3 dark grey at the bottom of the legs like that, and then you just fill the rest of the legs in with dark blue wool. And for the arms, after you've filled in the bottom of the arm in with white stained clay, like this, once you've filled in the bottom, you pretty much just want to... It's quite logical. You basically want to take the colour that you have on the front and the back of the statue, and whatever colour that is, just use that colour to kind of connect the front and the back of the statue together. So where we have white stained clay here and here, you just want to do the same in the centre. And of course, when we get up to here where we have cyan, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Simple enough. And when you get up to the top of the shoulder here, you just want to fill the first 3 rows in with cyan, coming towards the center of the statue, and what you want to end up with is something that should look a little bit like this. And once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to Steve's head. So once you've reached this point right here, you now want to come all the way to the front of your Steve statue, come all the way up to the top of the torso, and start off Steve's head by stacking a row of 8 white clay directly on top of those 8 top blocks of the torso, like that. Once you've got that first row of 8 white clay placed, you then want to do 2 additional rows in front of that first row. So that's just 1 and 2 coming out in front of the statue, like this. Once you have this second row, you then want to knock out the 4 middle blocks of that row and replace it with black stained clay. Easier to do it that way round rather than build the colour into the row, I always find. This second row that we now have black stained clay in is going to be the first row of the face. We're now going to be building up on top of this row. So for the second row of Steve's face, going from left to right, you want to do this sequence of blocks. Do 2 white clay, 1 black clay, 2 white clay, 1 black clay, 2 white clay, like that. For the next row, do 2 black clay in the 2 center spots of the row, and then fill the entire rest of your row in with white clay. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 1 white clay, 1 white wool, 1 dark blue, 2 white clay, 1 dark blue, 1 white wool, 1 white clay. For the next row, do an entire row of white clay. For the next row, place a single black clay on the left and right hand sides of your row, and then fill the center part in with white clay. And for the final 2 rows of Steve's face, just do 2 solid rows of black clay. So that's 1 and that's 2 just on top of there. So you want to end up with something that should look exactly like this. And this is Steve's face. Once you've got that taken care of, we can then move on to the rest of Steve's head. So now come all the way around to the back of Steve's head, take out your white clay again, take this first initial row of 8 white clay that we placed and extend it over the back of your statue by 2 rows. So just take that first initial row and then just overhang the back of the statue by 2 rows like this. And just to give you guys a sideways view, this always helps. This is what you want to have. Just like the front of the head overhangs the front of the statue by 2 rows, you want the same for the back. Easy enough. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So we're just going to tamper with the sides of the head before we do the rest of it. So you're on this side of Steve's head, and starting from the second row, from this right hand side here, you want to do a row of 4 white clay going left towards the back of the head. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And you want to do the same just directly on top of it. Just stack another row of 4 white clay, like that. Then starting from the right hand side, you want to do a row of 2 white clay. 1, 2. And then again for the next row, 1, 2. So you want to end up with something that should look like a really chunky J shape. Once you've got that on one side of the head, you want to do the exact same thing on the opposite side here. So come into the opposite side, starting from the front of the head again, go into the right hand side, second row, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, and 1, 2, just like that. 2 rows of 4, 2 rows of 2. Easy enough. Once you've got that taken care of, you now want to move to the back of Steve's head, and where we have this back row of white clay, you want to start off by knocking out the 4 center blocks and replacing them with black clay. Again, it's easier to do it this way around rather than build the color into the row. Once you've got that taken care of, all you now want to do is take the 2 back corners of the head, go on top of those 2 back corners with your black stained clay, connect them to the front of the head like this, so just match the height of the front of the head, and then connect the 2 rows that you make to the front of the head. Also connect them together like this, and what you want to end up with is a nice semi-empty cube shape, like this. Once you have that, all you have to do to complete Steve's head is just completely fill it in with your black stained clay. So I'm just doing that myself right now, and once we've done that, we can then move on to the next part. I think that we will probably finish the detail with Steve's left arm before we move on to the right arm. That's probably a smart idea. We'll get the whole left hand side of the statue taken care of before we move on to the right hand side. The other option is to do Steve's other arm and then move on to his accessories, but I think we'll do it this way around just so everything's nice and clear. But what you want to end up with at this moment in time is Steve's head just completely filled in like this. Easy enough. Once you've got Steve's head completely filled in, we can now move on to the next part. So, once you've reached this point right here, we're now going to focus on Steve's only arm that he has at the moment. Of course, he's going to have another arm in just a second, but we're going to be focusing on this one first of all. So, once you've reached this point right here, you want to come all the way down to the bottom of Steve's arm. He only has one, it shouldn't be hard to find. Once you're here, you're going to want to scramble through your inventory, and you're going to want to grab yourself some block of diamond, grab yourself some spruce wood planks, and finally grab yourself some oak wood planks. We're going to make Steve a sword. He needs one. He really does. He's in danger. Once you've grabbed all of those materials, starting from this block that we have at the bottom of the arm right here, I'm sure that you guys can see the block that I have highlighted. From this block, you want to do a spruce wood plank, just coming out in front of it, like this. Then take a sideways view, like this, just looking over towards the other side of your Steve statue, and it's just going to be easier to build from here. So, on top of this spruce wood plank block, do an oak wood plank, and then a spruce wood plank. Like that. Then, going left of this oak wood plank, do a spruce wood plank. Then on top of that spruce wood plank, do an oak wood plank. Then going left of and on top of that oak wood plank, do a cyan wool. Going on top of this left cyan wool, do a block of diamond. Then do 2 cyan wool going up. 1, 2. Then do 2 cyan wool upright diagonally from the second cyan, so 1 and 2 coming back towards Steve's arm, like this. You then want to do 2 diamond blocks underneath each one of those 2 cyan diagonals. And you also want to place a cyan wool underneath that second lot of second diamond, like this. Once you form this shape, you now want to come underneath Steve's arm, and starting from this block right here, I'm sure that you guys can see the one that I'm talking about, you want to do 2 cyan coming down. 1, 2, from that block. Then coming towards the back of Steve's arm, do 2 more cyan. 1, 2. Then connect that second cyan to the underpart of Steve's hand. Then fill this center part in with block of diamond. This is the shape that you want to have made so far. This is half of the diamond sword's handle. Once you've reached this point right here, we can continue on. So we now want to come to this diamond block that we have right here. The first one that we placed, it's diagonal to the oak wood planks. From this diamond block, you want to do a bottom left diagonal with your diamond, which is like basically placing one right here. Then go left of that diamond by 1 with your diamond. Then do a bottom left diagonal. What you then want to do is take out your cyan wool, and you basically want to place cyan going around all of the diamond that you've placed in this sort of fashion. Kind of really difficult to explain this part of the tutorial, this part of the statue, but I'm sure that you guys can understand that. This is the sort of shape that you want to have formed. Once you've done that, this is what you want to do next. So you want to come to this cyan wall, this one that I have highlighted right here, and from this cyan you want to do 8 up left diagonals with your cyan. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on top of that 8th up left diagonal, do 2 cyan. 1, 2. Then go right by 2. 1, 2. Then do bottom right diagonals until you connect all the way back to the handle of your diamond sword. So you're going to want to end up connecting like this. And all you have to do to completely finish Steve's diamond sword is just fill the center part of the blade in with a block of diamond, just as I'm doing now. So you want to end up with something that should look a little bit like this, and that is just the diamond sword 100% fully completed in Steve's hand. And again, I'm sorry guys, it really is difficult to explain this part. It's in a weird position and it's just kind of a weird shape, especially when it's off the floor in something's hand. Once you've got that taken care of, however, we can now make Steve's other arm, and then we can make what is in his other hand. So, once you've reached this point right here, move all the way over to the opposite side of your statue and come all the way up to the top of the left hand side of Steve's torso. You're looking for this top left hand corner block of the right hand side of Steve. Once you've found this block, do a row of 4 cyan coming out of this side of the statue. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then go down from this 4th block by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then connect all the way back to Steve's torso to form a C shape. Once you've done that on the back of the statue, you want to do the exact same thing on the front. So this corner block, 1, 2, 3, 4, down by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then connect all the way back to the statue, like that. You then want to take the 2 corner blocks of your 2 C's and then connect them together to kind of form like a cyan outline, like this. Once you've done that, you then want to take out your white stained clay and coming to the front of your cyan cube, take each one of the 4 corners of the front case. Take each one of the 4 corners of the front face of your cube and extend them out by 8 from each corner, coming out in front of the statue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and finally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then connect each one of those 8 blocks together, just kind of going around in a square shape, just to form like a big empty white clay rectangle. Once you've done that, you can then just go around and fill in the relevant parts of Steve's arm with their relevant colours. So obviously you want to fill in the white clay rectangular shape in with white clay, and you want to fill his sleeve in with cyan wool. So I'm just going to do that, and once you've done that as well, once I've done that, we can then move on to the item part. So I'm now just going to fill in the cyan part here, and then we can move on, and we actually have to grab ourselves some more materials. So this is what it wants to look like once you've completely filled in Steve's right arm. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. You know what, we can probably just clear our inventories. We probably don't need them anymore. Once you've cleared your inventory, grab yourself some spruce wood planks, some oak wood planks, some red wool, orange wool, yellow wool, white wool, and finally grab yourself some dark grey wool. Once you've grabbed each one of these colours right here, we can now move on. So we're now going to give Steve a torch in his right hand. We'll start with the bottom part actually, it's probably best to do that. So starting from this block right here, can you guys see this block that I have highlighted? I can't really give you better instructions. Coming down from this block that I have highlighted, do 1 oak wood plank followed by 1 spruce wood plank. Next to those 2 blocks, do 2 spruce wood planks, like this. Then behind each one of those blocks, just do another one of the blocks of their kind. So, where you have spruce wood, do a block of spruce wood. Where you have oak wood, do a block of oak wood. Like this. Once you've done this to the under part of Steve's hand, you now want to come to the top part of Steve's hand, and starting from on top of this block that we have right here, again, I'm sure that you guys can see which one I'm talking about, stack this row of colours. Do 2 oak wood planks, 1, 2, followed by 1 yellow wool, then 1 orange wool. Going right of each one of those blocks, starting from this bottom block, do 2 spruce wood planks, 1, 2, then 1 white, 1 red, like so. And once you have those 2 rows taken care of, do the exact same thing behind those 2 rows. So where you have oak, place oak, where you have orange, place orange, red, red, white, white, spruce, spruce. You guys get the point. So you want to end up with this right here. Once you've done that, you then want to take out your dark grey wool, and starting from this front orange block right here, you kind of like want to be 1 block up above this orange, and you kind of like want to be out diagonally in relation. So you kind of want to place a dark grey block that is here. I'm sure that you guys can see that easy enough. Once you've placed that dark grey block, you then from this block want to do 2 up left diagonals. So 1 and 2, like so. Then, once you've done that, come to this first dark grey block that we placed and do a bottom left diagonal from that block. Then do 3 up left diagonals from that bottom left diagonal. So 1, 2, 3. And what you want to end up with in total is something that should look a little bit like this. And that's basically just a torch that we've placed in Steve's right hand. Once you've done that, you have actually 100% fully completed this statue. So let's take a look at it, shall we? Let's take a look from the front first of all. That's a handsome looking statue. Now let's do a nice 360. So once you've reached this point right here, once you've then attached both of the arms and you've got his sword and you've got his torch place, you've actually 100% fully completed your Steve statue. And I know guys, I'm sorry, the tutorial may have gotten a little difficult to follow when we started giving him the items in his hands, but that's kind of really difficult to avoid. It's a little unavoidable. It's a weird place to be like placing items, and it's just really difficult to explain. It's kind of you've just got to look at what I'm doing and kind of like apply it for yourself rather than just trying to, 100% work off of my explanation. But you will end up, if you reach this point right here, with a really, really cool looking statue. I really love this. And I should probably point out, and I will point this out in the comments, you don't have to have Steve like this. If you wanted to, for instance, you could have his left arm raised up and you could have the torch in his left arm. You could have his right arm still raised up and you could have the sword in his right arm instead. You could have the torch in his left. You could have both arms up and he could be holding 2 swords. You could give him a helmet. You could do whatever you wanted, but I kind of thought that this would be a really cool idea for a statue, and I'm hoping you guys agree. I've never made just a pure Steve statue. I kind of made a diamond armor Steve not so long ago, but I kind of wanted to do something that was a little different, and I think this is really cool. It's kind of like an explorer sort of Steve. He's like, this is what he'd be using when he's walking through the dark caverns. He'd have a torch in one hand and a diamond sword in the other, and I don't know, maybe that's what I'll call him. Maybe I'll call him Explorer Steve, because it is a really... This is what I think of when I think of Steve walking through the dark caverns. It's a pretty cool looking statue. Hopefully you guys managed to follow this no problem. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video.